Monsters in the Basement. A collaborative story by The Secret Garden, Little Ones, starring...
My name is Alex.
My name is Coralie and I like dogs.
My name is Samson and I like giraffes.
My name is Sophia and I like friends. Emmeline, will you run down and grab a jar of pickles? You know where they are. Back on the shelves.
Emmeline was the go-to girl for her mom around dinner time. She was used to that. So, all gangly, freckled, 8 years of California girl yanked open the door to the basement and bounded down the steps. She grabbed a jar of her mom's homemade pickles and was on her way back up when she noticed something she had never noticed before. There was a tiny door in the basement wall next to the freezer. The doorway was only 2 feet tall, with a shiny silver doorknob. Being a very, very, very curious girl, Emmeline turned the knob. The door opened, and she bent down to peek inside. She was about to try to squeeze through when she heard her mom's voice.
Emmeline, where are those pickles? Vowing to check on it later, she took the pickles up to her mom. After dinner, she couldn't decide whether or not to tell her little brother. She badly wanted to tell someone, but Ryan was the timid type. And the last thing she wanted was a full-scale investigation of the mystery door. Still, she took a chance and told him. Ryan didn't know whether she was joking or not, but with his big sister for support, they laid in bed with the light off until their parents went to bed.
Then, ever so quietly, crept into the kitchen and down the basement stairs. Ryan's eyes blew up big when he saw the doorway, and he started the other way. Emmeline grabbed his arm.
No way. We're in this together, Ryan. Come on, it'll be fun.
Ryan wasn't too sure about that part, but attached to his sister by an iron claw, he had no choice but join her as they ducked into the doorway and down the creepy stairs. At the bottom of the stairs, there's a hallway that wound around and round. They can see a faint light around the bend, and they heard singing. Emmeline flashed Ryan a make-believe smile for courage, then turned the corner into brilliant light.
Standing next to a little stove, wearing a chef hat and an apron, was a monster. Not a big monster, a little monster, maybe 18 inches tall. They both judged it to be a monster by its green, scaly skin, webbed feet, and gargantuan, cucumber-like nose. Small monsters were slightly less terrifying than large monsters, and Ryan began tugging his sister back the way they came.
Oh, humans!
The monster cried.
Little humans, how lovely!
Emmeline was a spunky girl, always the first kid to venture over a sketchy tree branch or try a mystery concoction cooked up by friends. But having a monster living in her basement was slightly unsettling. And when he said, little humans, it almost sounded as if he were welcoming ingredients for his boiling pot. The monster interrupted her scary thoughts.
Hello, little humans. My name is Fred. This soup is missing something. Would you mind having a taste so perhaps you could tell me what it is?
Fred sounded so, well, sweet and kind.
I kind of have to know what sort of soup it is before I can tell what is missing.
Oh, aren't you a smart one? Yes, this is miso dandelion noodle soup. I made it all up by myself. I make up all my recipes myself on account of the dishes my mom and dad make. Well, they're a little different.
Emmeline couldn't help herself. She edged forward and took a sip from his outstretched ladle. Well, she said, after swirling the liquid around in her mouth, I don't expect you have M&Ms, do you?
The monster's eyes shot upwards, as if to say,
Why didn't I think of that?
he reached into the cupboard, pulled out half a bag of M&Ms, and poured them into the soup. He stirred a bit and tasted it again.
Perfect! Just the thing. Please, won't you sit down and have a bowl with me?
Emmeline and her brother sat down, and for the next half hour, they talked about pickles, and caves, and Planet Plutarch, and snow people. Out of respect, Emmeline didn't ask him the obvious questions. That is, how did he get to the Earth from Planet Plutarch? And what exactly was he, a monster, doing in their basement? Ryan, though, was slowly getting confidence, and he nibbled at the idea by asking Fred about his parents' recipe. Why didn't he like them?
Well, of course my parents are monsters too. But they're more on the normal monster side. They eat puppy soup and kitty soup. Every once in a while, a little boy and girl soup. That's why I ran away from home. I didn't want to eat little boys and girls. I wanted to meet them and be friends. That's why I built my very own rocket ship and flew here to planet Earth.
On a scale of 1 to 10, this news was maybe a 2 in terms of making her feel better. But the more they talked, the more Ryan and Emmeline began to love their little friend. After a half hour, in Ryan's fourth yawn, Emmeline explained they had to go, but they promised to return the next evening. For the next 3 nights, Emmeline and her brother repeated the routine, waiting until their parents were asleep and then creeping down to visit Fred. Moms and dads may get fooled once, sometimes even twice. But then a special alarm goes on in their brain that's louder than a baboon locked in a library. On that 3rd night, the mother heard a very slight pitter-patter of little feet, followed them into the kitchen, down the basement stairs, and through Fred's little door. Still, she wasn't quite ready for the sight which awaited her. Emmeline and Ryan, seated at a tiny table, slurping soup with a monster. Her scream was probably heard on Planet Plutarch. She grabbed the children's hands and hauled them up and out of Fred's place so fast their feet never touched the ground. She took them to their room and said, "Stay here." And then she pulled out the phone and went to the exterminator page.
Rats, raccoons, ants, termites. Each exterminator specialized in getting rid of one pest or another, but no one mentioned monsters. She was about to give up when she saw a small advertisement. Do you have monsters in your basement? Call us today for free removal. She immediately called the number, and a very nice person told her not to worry. They would be right over. And they were definitely right over. Like in 6 minutes, there were 2 people dressed in spacesuit kind of things, and they asked where they could find the monster. Emmeline was watching the whole thing from a crack in her bedroom door, crying her little eyes out. When the people disappeared down into the basement, the mother comforted her children and told them everything would be all right. Minutes later, they were back in the kitchen. With Fred in tow, one of them led Fred outside, while the other sat down at the kitchen table and had Mother fill out some papers.
Emmeline ran to her window to catch one last look of her friend.
And that's when she saw something unusual. There on the sidewalk, next to their little yellow car, the person in the spacesuit was taking off the protective gear. And inside was not a person, but another.